Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to address a delicate but critical topic, identifying the warning signs of an evil woman. Now let me be clear, this is not about condemning women, but about unveiling the characteristics of a destructive spirit that can reside in anyone. These principles serve as a guide for self-reflection, discernment, and protection in relationships, whether personal, professional, or spiritual. Manipulation over motivation is a behavior rooted in selfishness, cunning, and a desire for control. It occurs when someone seeks to influence others, not to inspire them toward a higher purpose or empower their growth, but to serve their personal agendas. When we talk about an evil woman, this trait becomes a central characteristic as she manipulates others with precision, charm, and often subtlety. Unlike motivation, which breathes life into people and uplifts their spirits, manipulation drains the energy and resources of those who fall under her influence. At first glance, manipulation may appear as charm or charisma. An evil woman often presents herself as kind, understanding, or even nurturing. However, these qualities are weaponized not for genuine care, but as tools to gain leverage. She understands human psychology deeply, knowing what people desire to hear, what insecurities they carry, and what makes them vulnerable. She uses these insights to craft her words and actions, ensuring her targets feel indebted, guilty, or overly reliant on her presence. A manipulative woman often preys on trust. Trust is a cornerstone of any relationship, and once established, it opens the door to influence. However, instead of honoring this trust, she exploits it. She positions herself as indispensable or uniquely capable, convincing others that they cannot succeed or even function without her. This tactic ensures her control, as those around her are hesitant to act independently, fearing her disapproval or rejection. One of the most dangerous aspects of manipulation is its subtlety. Unlike outright coercion, manipulation operates under the radar, often leaving its victims unaware of how they are being controlled. An evil woman doesn't force, she suggests. She doesn't demand, she persuades. This makes her influence difficult to recognize until the damage is done. The manipulated individual often feels as though they are making their own choices, unaware that these choices have been carefully orchestrated to align with her desires. Emotion is one of her primary tools. She knows how to evoke sympathy, guilt, or even admiration. If challenged, she might adopt a victim's role, deflecting attention away from her true intentions. Tears may flow, voices may soften, and suddenly those who sought to confront her find themselves apologizing instead. By playing on emotions, she keeps her manipulation hidden, presenting herself as misunderstood or wrongly accused. In professional or leadership settings, her manipulation becomes even more evident. Instead of motivating a team toward collective success, she divides and conquers. She pits individuals against one another, fostering an environment of competition and distrust. This strategy ensures her position of power, as those around her are too preoccupied with internal conflicts to challenge her authority. Meanwhile, she reaps the benefits of the chaos she has sown. A manipulative woman is also adept at disguising her selfishness as generosity. She might give, but her giving is never unconditional. Whether it's advice, support, or material resources, there is always an underlying expectation of repayment, often in forms unspoken. Those who accept her kindness may find themselves entangled in a web of obligation, unable to escape without feeling ungrateful or indebted. Her approach to relationships is transactional. She views people not as partners or equals, but as assets to be used and discarded as needed. Loyalty and affection are conditional, depending on what she stands to gain. When someone is no longer useful, they are cast aside without remorse, replaced by new targets who can better serve her purposes. This cycle of using and discarding creates a trail of broken relationships, each marked by pain and betrayal. Manipulation is also fueled by a profound insecurity. Despite her outward confidence, an evil woman often fears losing control. Her manipulative behavior stems from a deep need to maintain power and avoid vulnerability. This insecurity drives her to dominate conversations, situations, and people, ensuring that she remains the center of attention and influence. She thrives on the dependence of others because it validates her sense of importance and superiority. Another hallmark of manipulation is its adaptability. An evil woman adjusts her tactics based on her audience. To one person, she may appear as a confidant, sharing secrets to build intimacy. To another, she may present herself as an authority figure, demanding respect and obedience. This chameleon-like ability allows her to navigate different social and professional environments with ease, tailoring her approach to maximize her control over each individual she encounters. The damage caused by manipulation is profound. It erodes trust, breeds resentment, and stifles personal growth. Those who fall victim to an evil woman's manipulation often feel drained, confused, and devalued. Their self-esteem suffers as they question their own decisions and worth, unable to recognize how their choices were influenced. Over time, the toxic environment created by her behavior can lead to emotional, mental, and even physical exhaustion. Understanding manipulation is crucial in recognizing its signs and breaking free from its grip. An evil woman may appear to be a friend, a mentor, or even a partner, but her actions reveal her true intentions. By staying vigilant and discerning, one can distinguish between genuine motivation, where the focus is on mutual growth and empowerment, and manipulation, where the goal is control and self-serving gain. Disregard for accountability is a defining trait of someone who operates without integrity or moral compass. An evil woman who embodies this characteristic refuses to take responsibility for her actions, decisions, or their consequences. She thrives on deflection, denial, and blame shifting, ensuring that her role in any negative outcome is minimized or erased altogether. This behavior not only shields her from the consequences of her choices, but also perpetuates cycles of dysfunction in her relationships, environments, and within herself. At the core of her disregard for accountability is a rejection of truth. Accountability requires honesty, both with oneself and with others. It demands a willingness to face uncomfortable realities, admit faults, and take corrective action. However, an evil woman resists this process because it threatens her carefully constructed image of perfection, power, or victimhood. She would rather twist the narrative, manipulate facts, or deny outright than confront her own flaws or mistakes. Blame shifting is one of her primary strategies. When confronted with an issue, she will immediately look for someone else to hold responsible. Whether it's a colleague, a partner, a family member, or even external circumstances, she ensures that the spotlight never falls on her. If something goes wrong at work, it was due to the incompetence of others. If a relationship deteriorates, it's because the other person was unreasonable or unworthy. By casting blame elsewhere, she absolves herself of any need for reflection or change. This tendency to deflect blame often creates a toxic environment for those around her. People in her orbit may find themselves constantly walking on eggshells, fearing that any misstep will be used against them. Over time, this can erode trust and create a culture of fear, as others become wary of her inability to own up to her actions. In extreme cases, she may even gaslight those who question her, making them doubt their own perceptions and further solidifying her position of unaccountability. Another hallmark of her disregard for accountability is her skill at playing the victim. When confronted with her wrongdoings, she often portrays herself as misunderstood, unfairly targeted, or helpless against circumstances beyond her control. This tactic not only deflects attention from her actions, but also garners sympathy, making it difficult for others to hold her to account. People may hesitate to challenge her further, fearing they will be seen as insensitive or unsupportive. This behavior extends into her personal relationships, where she avoids responsibility for emotional harm or conflict. If she causes pain or betrayal, she will rarely, if ever, offer a genuine apology. Instead, she might justify her actions, claiming they were necessary or unavoidable. Alternatively, she may dismiss the feelings of others as overreactions, trivializing the hurt she has caused. Her inability to empathize with the impact of her behavior ensures that she remains detached from the consequences of her actions. Her disregard for accountability also manifests in her decision-making. An evil woman prioritizes her desires, ambitions, or convenience over the well-being of others, often making choices that are selfish or harmful. However, when these decisions backfire or lead to negative outcomes, she refuses to accept responsibility. Instead of acknowledging her role, she will rewrite history to position herself as a victim of circumstances or the mistakes of others. This refusal to learn from her errors not only perpetuates harm, but also prevents her from growing or evolving as a person. This behavior is particularly damaging in positions of leadership or influence. In these roles, accountability is essential for building trust, fostering collaboration, and achieving shared goals. However, an evil woman in such a position will undermine these principles. She may take credit for successes that were the result of collective effort while blaming others for failures she contributed to. Her unwillingness to own her mistakes erodes morale, discourages initiative, and creates a toxic environment where progress is stifled. In addition to harming others, her disregard for accountability ultimately limits her own potential. Accountability is a pathway to growth. It requires humility, self-awareness, and a willingness to change. By avoiding this process, she denies herself the opportunity to learn from her experiences, develop resilience, and build meaningful connections. Instead, she becomes trapped in a cycle of denial and defensiveness, alienating herself from others and from the truth. This avoidance of accountability is often driven by fear. Deep down, she may fear being exposed, judged, or losing control. Admitting fault would require vulnerability, which she perceives as weakness. To maintain her facade of strength or perfection, she clings to her patterns of deflection and denial, even when they cause harm to herself and others. This fear-based approach not only isolates her, but also ensures that she remains stagnant, unable to confront or overcome her insecurities. Her disregard for accountability is not merely a personal flaw, it has broader implications for the environments and relationships she is a part of. Whether in a family, workplace, or community, her refusal to take responsibility disrupts harmony and breeds dysfunction. Those who interact with her may find themselves carrying the weight of her actions, cleaning up her messes, or suffering the consequences of her choices. Over time, this dynamic can lead to resentment, burnout, and a breakdown of trust. Recognizing this trait is crucial for protecting oneself and others from its impact. An evil woman who disregards accountability may initially seem charismatic, capable, or even admirable. However, her true nature becomes evident in moments of conflict or adversity, where her unwillingness to own her actions reveals a deeper lack of integrity. By staying vigilant and setting clear boundaries, one can avoid being ensnared in her web of deflection and denial. A destructive tongue is one of the most potent weapons an evil woman wields, capable of tearing down individuals, relationships, and even entire communities. Words carry immense power, and when misused, they become tools of harm rather than instruments of healing. An evil woman with a destructive tongue is not careless with her words. On the contrary, she uses them deliberately to inflict pain, sow division, and maintain control over those around her. Her speech is calculated, sharp, and often veiled in subtlety, making its effects even more insidious. The destructive tongue often masks itself under the guise of honesty or concern. She may present her hurtful words as just being real or claim that she's merely pointing out what others refuse to see. However, the intention behind her words is not to build or correct, but to diminish and undermine. She takes pleasure in highlighting others' flaws, mistakes, or insecurities, often in public settings where the humiliation can sting the most. Her criticisms are rarely constructive. They are meant to tear down rather than uplift. Gossip is one of her primary tools. She thrives on spreading rumors and half-truths, carefully selecting her audience to maximize the impact of her words. Her gossip is not random but targeted, designed to weaken alliances, destroy reputations, or turn people against one another. In doing so, she isolates her targets, making them more vulnerable to her influence. She positions herself as the source of information, creating a false sense of trust among those who listen to her while ensuring that the seeds of discord she plants take root. Sarcasm and passive aggressiveness are also hallmarks of her destructive tongue. She rarely engages in direct confrontation, as that would require courage and accountability. Instead, she cloaks her insults in jokes or ambiguous statements, leaving her victims questioning their own perceptions. This approach allows her to deny any malicious intent, claiming that others are too sensitive or misinterpreting her words. By doing so, she avoids accountability while continuing to inflict harm. An evil woman with a destructive tongue is also adept at exploiting emotions. She knows how to weaponize people's deepest fears and insecurities, using them as leverage to control or manipulate. Her words are carefully chosen to strike where it hurts the most, leaving scars that take years to heal. She may bring up past failures, ridicule someone's dreams, or question their worth, all under the pretense of being honest or helpful. The emotional damage she causes can be profound, eroding confidence, self-esteem, and trust. Her words are not only harmful to individuals but also corrosive to relationships. She has a talent for creating division, often by twisting truths or spreading subtle lies. In friendships, she might insinuate doubts or plant suspicions, causing rifts between close companions. In families, she may highlight grievances or fuel resentments, ensuring that unity is broken. Her ability to manipulate conversations and perceptions allows her to control the narrative, making herself appear blameless while chaos unfolds around her. Flattery, when used by her, is equally dangerous. While a destructive tongue is often associated with harsh or cutting words, it can also manifest in insincere praise. She uses flattery strategically, building people up only to tear them down later. Her compliments are not genuine but are bait to gain trust or manipulate emotions. Once she has established this false sense of security, she shifts her tone, using the same tongue that prays to criticize, demean, or betray. In professional settings, her destructive tongue becomes a tool for sabotage. She undermines colleagues through backhanded comments, false accusations, or subtle discrediting. She may take credit for others' work while downplaying their contributions, ensuring that she remains in the spotlight. Her words create a toxic environment where trust is scarce, collaboration is stifled, and morale is low. The damage she causes often extends beyond individuals, affecting entire teams or organizations. The destructive tongue is also fueled by jealousy and insecurity. She speaks harshly or negatively about others not because they deserve it, but because their successes, talents, or qualities threaten her sense of superiority. By tearing others down, she attempts to elevate herself, creating an illusion of power or control. However, this approach only highlights her own weaknesses, as it becomes clear that her criticisms stem from envy rather than truth. In personal relationships, her destructive tongue wreaks havoc. She uses words to manipulate emotions, creating a cycle of dependency and control. Compliments and affection are rare, replaced by criticism, mockery, or silent disdain. She may belittle her partner's dreams, dismiss their concerns, or ridicule their efforts, ensuring that they feel inadequate or unworthy. This constant barrage of negativity can erode even the strongest bonds, leaving emotional wounds that take years to heal. Her speech is not limited to direct interactions. It extends to how she speaks about people when they are not present. An evil woman with a destructive tongue rarely refrains from bad-mouthing others, even those she claims to care about. This duplicity reveals her lack of integrity, as she uses her words to project an image of loyalty or friendship while betraying those same individuals in private. Over time, her pattern of speech reveals her true character, as people begin to notice the inconsistency between her words and actions. The consequences of a destructive tongue are far-reaching. Words once spoken cannot be taken back, and their impact can linger long after the moment has passed. An evil woman's harmful speech creates a ripple effect, damaging not only her immediate targets but also the people and environments connected to them. Her legacy is one of broken trust, shattered confidence, and fractured relationships. Self-serving ambitions are a defining trait of an evil woman, driven by a relentless desire to fulfill her own needs and desires, regardless of the cost to others. Her ambitions are not rooted in genuine growth, mutual benefit, or the pursuit of a higher purpose. Instead, they are entirely focused on personal gain, power, or recognition. Her goals may appear noble or aspirational on the surface, but a closer examination reveals an underlying selfishness that ultimately leaves destruction in its wake. Her self-serving nature manifests in the way she prioritizes her own interests above all else. She is willing to exploit relationships, opportunities, and resources to achieve her goals, showing little regard for the well-being of those she uses along the way. Friends, family, and colleagues often find themselves as mere stepping stones in her path to success, discarded or ignored once their usefulness has been exhausted. Loyalty and reciprocity mean little to her unless they serve her agenda. To achieve her ambitions, she often employs manipulation, deception, or cunning. She knows how to present herself as trustworthy, likable, or even altruistic, creating an illusion that masks her true motives. This facade allows her to gain the support, admiration, or assistance of others without revealing the selfish intent driving her actions. Her charm and charisma become tools to disarm and deceive, enabling her to extract what she needs from those around her. An evil woman with self-serving ambitions also has a talent for exploiting systems and structures to her advantage. Whether in professional, social, or personal contexts, she identifies opportunities to elevate herself, even if it means bending rules, cutting corners, or undermining others. She views ethical considerations as obstacles rather than principles, discarding them whenever they conflict with her desires. Her willingness to compromise integrity ensures that her ambitions take precedence over fairness or justice. In her pursuit of self-serving ambition, she thrives on competition and comparison. She measures her worth not by her own accomplishments, but by how much better she perceives herself to be than others. This mindset fuels envy and rivalry, as she cannot tolerate the success or happiness of others unless it directly benefits her. Instead of celebrating the achievements of those around her, she seeks ways to overshadow, outdo, or diminish them, ensuring that she remains the center of attention. Her ambitions often create a toxic environment for those in her orbit. In the workplace, she may sabotage colleagues, take credit for their efforts, or undermine their credibility to secure promotions or recognition for herself. In friendships, she may demand constant validation or support while offering little in return. Her relationships are one-sided, driven by what she can extract rather than what she can contribute. Over time, this self-centered approach leaves those around her feeling drained, undervalued, and disillusioned. Self-serving ambitions also manifest in her approach to leadership or influence. While a true leader seeks to empower and uplift others, she uses her position to consolidate power, manipulate outcomes, and further her own agenda. Decisions are made not for the collective good, but for her personal benefit, often at the expense of those she is supposed to serve. Her leadership style fosters resentment and disengagement, as people recognize that their contributions and well-being are secondary to her ambitions. Her focus on self-interest blinds her to the broader consequences of her actions. She rarely considers how her decisions might impact others or the long-term implications of her behavior. Instead, she is fixated on immediate gratification or short-term gains, leaving others to deal with the fallout of her choices. This short-sightedness often creates chaos, instability, or harm, as the structures or relationships she exploits are left weakened or broken. Despite her apparent confidence, an evil woman with self-serving ambitions is often driven by deep insecurity. Her relentless pursuit of success, power, or recognition stems from a need to validate her worth or prove herself superior to others. This internal void fuels her selfishness, as she believes that achieving her goals will fill the emptiness within. However, no amount of accomplishment or acclaim can satisfy her, leading her to continually seek more at the expense of those around her. Her ambitions are also marked by a lack of gratitude or humility. She rarely acknowledges the contributions of others, preferring to take sole credit for her successes. Even when supported or uplifted by others, she minimizes their role, framing her achievements as entirely self-made. This arrogance alienates those who might have been willing to support her, as they realize that their efforts will never be recognized or appreciated. The impact of her self-serving ambitions extends far beyond her immediate relationships or environments. Her behavior sets a harmful example, normalizing selfishness, dishonesty, and exploitation as acceptable means of achieving success. Those who observe her actions may feel compelled to adopt similar tactics, perpetuating a cycle of self-interest and harm. Alternatively, they may become disillusioned with ambition itself, associating it with negativity and corruption. Ultimately, an evil woman's self-serving ambitions create a legacy of broken trust, strained relationships, and missed opportunities for genuine connection or growth. While she may achieve some measure of success or recognition in the short term, the damage she causes along the way ensures that her victories are hollow. Her relentless focus on herself leaves little room for collaboration, compassion, or meaningful impact, isolating her from the very things that bring lasting fulfillment. Rejection of truth and wisdom is a hallmark of an evil woman, reflecting a mindset that values personal gain, control, and self-preservation over integrity, understanding, and growth. This deliberate dismissal of what is true and right is not a matter of ignorance but of choice, a refusal to accept knowledge and insight that might challenge her perspective or hold her accountable for her actions. By turning away from truth and wisdom, she not only harms herself but also creates an environment where deception, confusion, and folly thrive. Her rejection of truth begins with an unwillingness to confront reality. The truth by its nature demands self-reflection and accountability, but she resists these processes because they threaten her carefully constructed facade. Instead of acknowledging facts or admitting her faults, she denies, distorts, or deflects. She rewrites history to suit her narrative, twisting events and conversations to cast herself as innocent, justified, or superior. This manipulation of truth serves as a shield, protecting her from facing the consequences of her actions or the discomfort of self-awareness. An evil woman who rejects wisdom operates from a place of arrogance. Wisdom requires humility, the recognition that one does not know everything and that there is always room for growth and learning. However, she views humility as weakness and refuses to seek counsel, heed advice, or consider perspectives beyond her own. Her inflated sense of self-importance blinds her to the value of others' experiences and insights, isolating her in a world where only her opinions and desires matter. This arrogance not only limits her understanding but also alienates those who might have guided or supported her. Her rejection of truth often involves deliberate deception. Lies become her currency, used to manipulate situations, protect her image, or control others. She lies with ease, crafting stories that suit her purposes and dismissing any evidence to the contrary. Even when confronted with undeniable proof, she doubles down on her falsehoods, using charm, intimidation, or deflection to escape accountability. Over time, her web of lies becomes so intricate that even she may begin to believe her own fabrications, losing touch with reality entirely. Wisdom by its nature is built on principles of morality, discernment, and long-term thinking, but she dismisses these foundations in favor of immediate gratification or selfish ambition. She sees no value in understanding the deeper implications of her actions or the lessons life has to offer. To her, wisdom is irrelevant unless it directly benefits her agenda, and she disregards it when it challenges her motives or exposes her flaws. This short-sightedness ensures that she remains trapped in cycles of poor decision-making, unable to grow or evolve. Her rejection of truth and wisdom is also evident in her relationships. Truth and wisdom are essential for building trust, resolving conflicts, and fostering mutual respect, but she undermines these qualities at every turn. She avoids honest communication, preferring manipulation and half-truths to maintain control. When others offer advice or constructive criticism, she dismisses or ridicules them, refusing to consider that she might be wrong or that change is necessary. This unwillingness to engage with truth and wisdom creates a toxic dynamic where misunderstandings fester and genuine connection becomes impossible. In her interactions, she often weaponizes falsehoods to harm others. Instead of speaking truth to empower or enlighten, she uses deceit to discredit, divide, or destroy. She spreads rumors, twists words, and distorts facts to serve her purposes, showing no regard for the damage her lies cause. Her rejection of truth is not passive but active. She chooses to sow discord and confusion because it benefits her, even as it leaves others hurt and betrayed. Her disdain for wisdom is particularly damaging when she occupies positions of influence or authority. In these roles, wisdom is crucial for making sound decisions, guiding others, and navigating complex situations. However, her arrogance and short-sightedness ensure that her choices are driven by ego and self-interest rather than insight or understanding. Her leadership becomes a source of instability, as those under her direction suffer the consequences of her poor judgment and refusal to learn from experience. This rejection of truth and wisdom also extends to her personal growth. Truth and wisdom are the building blocks of self-improvement, requiring one to face hard realities, embrace change, and learn from mistakes. However, she resists this process at every turn, preferring to remain in her comfort zone of denial and self-deception. By refusing to engage with truth and wisdom, she stunts her own development, remaining stagnant and unfulfilled despite her efforts to project an image of success or superiority. Her behavior reflects a deeper fear of vulnerability. Truth and wisdom demand honesty and introspection, which require confronting one's weaknesses, failures, and insecurities. She avoids these confrontations because they threaten her sense of control and the image she has constructed. This fear-based rejection of truth and wisdom ensures that she remains disconnected from herself and others, trapped in a cycle of denial and deflection that prevents genuine growth or fulfillment. The consequences of her rejection of truth and wisdom are far-reaching. In her personal life, it creates a legacy of broken trust, strained relationships, and missed opportunities for connection. In her professional life, it leads to poor decisions, damaged reputations, and an environment where dishonesty and incompetence prevail. For herself, it ensures a life of isolation and stagnation as she remains unable to confront reality or embrace the lessons that could lead to a more meaningful existence. Habitual betrayal is a defining trait of an evil woman, rooted in a deliberate pattern of deceit, disloyalty, and manipulation. Betrayal, when it becomes a habit, is no longer an occasional lapse in judgment or In examining these traits, manipulation, a destructive tongue, disregard for accountability, self-serving ambitions, rejection of truth and wisdom, and habitual betrayal, it becomes evident that such behaviors are not isolated flaws but interconnected patterns that reveal the heart of an evil woman. These qualities destroy trust, disrupt harmony, and leave a trail of pain and brokenness in their wake. Recognizing these signs is crucial, not only to protect oneself from their harmful effects, but also to stand firm in the pursuit of truth, integrity, and wisdom. The antidote to these destructive patterns lies in cultivating virtues like honesty, accountability, empathy, and a commitment to growth. A life built on these principles not only uplifts others, but also leads to true fulfillment and purpose. By staying vigilant and choosing to align with what is right and good, we can navigate relationships and environments with clarity, ensuring that the influence of such traits does not take root in our lives. Ultimately, it is through wisdom, self-awareness, and discernment that we can rise above and foster communities grounded in trust, respect, and mutual care.